Today, Juan and I are working out at our 6-acre site, and we're coming back around to focusing some effort on the barn that we've been chipping away at for a while. You can see right now Juan's doing some pretty rad work using the draw knife to peel these stakes. We'll talk about those in a little bit. That's his specialty. We'll let him explain. But yeah, we've got the middle northern bay getting framed out to receive a tabletop surface. We're going to be using these melamine sheets that we got used from a cabinet place. And the underlayment for this, the framing for this, is coming out ridiculously strong, and it'd be fun to share notes on how we're getting there. We're using mainly waste wood, and it's coming out really nicely, so stick around. So this is our middle bay. It's roughly 8 feet by 8 feet. This is the middle north. Juan and I like to use cardinal directions for describing things. So we've got our northeastern bay, which will ultimately have landscape fabric and stones, and then a layer of pallets and be used for storing windows and doors, large bulk materials for building cabins. The middle bay, middle north, will be a contiguous set of tabletop surface. So this is the underlayment for one table that goes across, another one here, and another one here. So there'll be a lot of good working space. And the way that we develop this, I think, is beyond sturdy. It was kind of exciting to have something we don't have to worry about for the next 80 to 300 years maybe. So this is entirely black locust in here, and we just took some nice 1x6s and we used these. We don't know exactly what to call them. We call them T30s or GRKs, but they're very, very heavy-duty screws. And we pre-drill with a nice drill bit that fits just inside the diameter of that. And we recessed these on the uprights, either with the chainsaw we notched it out, or we used this shaping wheel. It's a really aggressive carbide tooth shaping wheel. Cutzall is the name of it. And this allows us to scour out and shape and make recesses. So we can do joinery, roughshod woodland joinery with those tools. And these are set right into the uprights of the structure. So this is very strong on its own. But what Juan did, and we'll talk about this in a moment, is took offcuts of lumber, black locust lumber, and sharpened them with the chainsaw, and we drove these in. We'll talk about that more. But that takes this surface and connects it into the framework of the structure, but then also the earth as well. Some of these are pounded in 2 feet or so. And so now there's no place in this where there's any deflection at all. Like, it just doesn't move. So that's kind of fun. And with angle bracing that Juan cut, we're able to then make corners that lock in. And you can see there's even weird joinery here, but we can round it over with that aggressive scouring wheel. Like, no perfect joinery at all, but enough strength that it does the work it needs to.
Right now we are selecting from our stock of these triangular pieces of locust, for which are going to be the stakes in ground contact to support the desks and the shelving that we're working on. So we're gonna trim this board to about a little over 4 feet. And that's going to be, then we'll sharpen it with a chainsaw, and that'll be one of our uprights.
All right, Vampire Slayer. Perfect.
Now we're ready to slide in our first sheet of melamine, and all we had to do for this was just trim the corners on the edges on here so that they would fit nicely into this into these uprights. So we should be able to just slide in now. We want to leave a little bit of room in the back and not have it be in contact with the metal so that whatever condensation or moisture is happening here doesn't damage the melamine.
Good enough. What do you think?
Looks great.
This is the first course of this middle section being a workspace. Really sturdy. It's really nice having the late day sun coming through here. We might do some pruning off to the west and south to get a little bit more light. It still remains to be determined exactly how this space will be used, but we've got extremely solid static workspace all the way around. We'll probably be framing out some sort of shelving system, maybe a really deep shelf on this side up to here, maybe a few here. This might be a little bedroom at some point for people that are camping out. The fun part about building these, we can do them iteratively. We've got this now that we can use as a surface to measure and do more fine detail to frame out the other areas. And so we know that this is what it is. What happens in the front here, we're not quite sure. Juan's idea just before, which I think is brilliant, is to figure out some sort of simple framing with scrap wood. Through here, we can slide 8-foot and 6-foot and 4-foot sections of lumber. So this becomes a lumber storage section, and so does that one. But the rest of it will reveal itself as we start to use it. This is probably a $50 project. I think we could probably put 300 or 400 pounds on these and they would be just fine. I don't think we will. But that's our workspace, evolving slowly. We'll share more notes when we do the next thing.
Also, we're looking forward to being with you all tomorrow, Sunday, February 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Yeah, excited to share some live time with y'all. It's got boardroom vibes.
It's a little boardroomy, isn't it?
That table shape, you know?
Yeah, right. Well, JP Morgan, the JP Morgan Retreat Center. How's that?